folks, this is Trooper Joe. I know I'm a day late. I'm a day late because I was in Washington, D.C. I was down there at an ArchAngel meeting. You know, ArchAngel kind of training and stuff, and that's where you learn more how to see people as people. You know, it all has something to do with ArchAngel. So I was down there, and I had to miss my Wednesday broadcast, but here I am on Thursday, and I hope everybody forgives me for missing. I'm probably going to miss another one too, because I got to go to Salt Lake to see about setting up, purchasing land and finding out a way to get construction people and everything for the leadership school that highlights ArchAngel type leadership in the world, because it is well needed as far as I'm concerned, that we all start to think, most people anyway, not everybody's going to do it, most people start to think about living a life that is conducive to being an ArchAngel. Yeah, and that's a good thing. And I'll tell you what that is in just a little while. But I'm going to give you the breaking news. Yes, OJ will be out on the street in October. He got the nod from the parole people that he get the early parole, which is, you know, it's like, yeah, you were 9 years ago really stupid to go in there and do that kind of robbery and stuff, but that doesn't mean that you were ever a bad person. As far as I'm concerned, you were never a bad person. I didn't think you did any of those killings or anything in the first place. You know, I thought you were just a football player who can run fast and kind of strong and a little bit of silly, you know, arrogant as you want to be, and it cost you. But I wanted to say that once you got into jail that you were going to try to be the disruptive person. Now, obviously you were going to go in there and do what you had to do so you can get out, and you did that. So congratulations to you on your early release. I hope that you come out here and probably go ahead and write books and make millions and billions of dollars if you want to. It's all good. It's all good. And, you know, doesn't affect me at all. Kind of rough like that. But on a sad note, you know, I want to say, because I like Senator McCain, I want to say I hope that Senator McCain, that you have a nice early recovery from your operation on your brain, I guess I'm going to call it a tumor and the cancer that you have, and now hopefully that your life, you know, you live the remainder of your life in a very high note, and that you really get to enjoy your loved ones, and you get to enjoy the moments of pleasure and peace that's left to you, you know. And I hope it's a goodly amount of time and stuff like that, but yeah, get your papers in order, son, because sometimes those things happen, you know. So actually, if I were you, I would get out, unless the Senate and the government seems to be something that you really enjoy doing. So that's a happy moment for you. I'd stay with the government, but I would really try to push forward the issues that are really true and dear to my heart, and not just follow along on the doctrine of the Republican Party. Or if not, I'd get out and just have fun with my family and stuff. Anyway, hopefully I could be 100% wrong and you live longer than most people on the planet. That would be a good thing. Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah, you know, my little news reminders, OJ speak, OJ speak. Everybody wants to tell me about that. Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about what I was doing in Washington. Not what I was doing. You know, another thing I was doing, because I live up here in Worcester. And Worcester's all right, I guess, and everything, but it's not Washington, D.C. by any stretch of the imagination, you know. I had such a good time in Washington, D.C., you know. Not just because I was with my lovely bride. Yeah, we're newlyweds of about 21 years, or 20, but we still newlyweds. Yeah, so, but, you know, but I had a good time looking at the people, watching the people and stuff. You know, just seeing that whole different kind of way that people interact with each other when they're in such close confines, you know. And folks, I have to tell you, I in my own pure observation of this, there's one program that's well needed in this world, and it's called ArchAngel of Return to Chivalry. There's not a whole lot of chivalry out there in the city, and I'm not just talking holding the door chivalry. I'm talking real thoughtful awareness that other people exist or around you. Like I go 220 anyway. I must have got walked into, and I like to walk way on the outside of the sidewalk so that I'm not in the way of bothering people, because people just walk into me. It's like I'm 220. I'm 6'2", 220. I'm not that hard to miss, but I guess not, because they walk into me. They found me, and they just be bouncing into me. It's like everybody was in their own little planet. It was amazing just to see that kind of actions and stuff. Very nice. Everybody was very nice. No excuse me's, no sorry, no any of those things like that. But they were very nice. If you really want to have a lot of robots and just walking around, because basically that's what it was like. Or a lot of lockstep, boom, 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 left, right, follow down the street. Oh, someone's in my way, walk over them. It was crazy. And the traffic was nuts. That was nuts, because they did the same thing while they're driving. I can make that green light, but it's red. It'll be green soon. Okay, go through it. Yeah, it was quite amazing. But the people were really nice. I miss the kind of city life atmosphere. The people, in the gym. I went to the gym there. I went to a Gold's gym. It was a good gym, except there was, the people in the gym did the same thing as the people that were walking the street. Except that there's a whole lot of weights involved with this. See, it's like, yeah, you could throw all that weight around, but you're hitting this person over here. Everybody was in their own private little space, and it was amazing to see so many people in such a beautiful place. Washington D.C., I think, is is a very beautiful city. I like the way the greenery shines. It's got several different shades of green. It just doesn't have a one shade of green. It's got vines, and then it got trees, and then it's got grass where the little swampy areas are. It's got rivers and stuff. So it's got several different shades of green all over. Not all manicured either. You're here in Worcester, everybody manicures their lawn. They don't change their clothes, but they'll manicure their lawn. Everybody keeps it same level, it's all uniformed. Everybody has to have it like that, and pull all the weeds out and all this kind of stuff. And if there's red flowers at the beginning of the street, everybody got to have red flowers. Don't dare put in a blue flower, or they'll be all over you. You're finished. You got to move. Yeah, and don't let weeds grow. But there, it's just the beauty of all that kind of vines and trees and different shades of grass and everything. It was really, let you really feel like for me anyways, like you're alive. You're really alive. You're watching things grow. There's little hawks flying around and all kinds of different little birds, and didn't have a lot of little wildlife animals running around like we got here in summer Worcester, but they had a lot of birds and hawks flying around. I don't know what this band of crows is that's going around the country, but there's about 1,000 of them guys that come out at twilight, and they just fly around the rooftops of the skyscrapers. And Washington was kind of unique too, because I think you can only have a building to 14 stories or something like that. So that was uniformed in a way, but not the grass like we have here. I think they can only go up to 14 stories. So that was kind of my little trip there to Washington, and I went to the Arbitrum meeting, which was all about seeing people as people, and we're going to mention that in a few minutes anyway. And that was good. I enjoyed that. Yeah, yeah. That even in the meeting too, it was still. I did have kind of an epiphany that going to have to share a little bit. My own pure observation and stuff, because there weren't many. There was me and two other black people three, four, five black people in the class, two women, and me and two other men and stuff like that. And they all did the amen. That's what I'm going to call it. You know, it was like if they heard something. They didn't offer the theory or hypothesis or any of that thing to us something, but they'd give the amen. And most of the people in the class did the same thing too. You know, they would echo what somebody said, and they would try to echo it in such a way that they're trying to bring out, add to it their own feelings and stuff. That's what I call the amen. Yeah, that's great. Amen. Praise the Lord. That was great the way that's like, and that should be. You know, so that's the amen. And that's what they did. I noticed that African Americans, you know, seems like across the country seem to do that thing. You know, with the amen. You know, ArchAngel, you don't have to do that. If you want to have your own thoughts right up front, bring it out. You know, bring it out. Just, you know, bring it out legibly if you can. If not, bring it out any way you can get it out your mouth. It's yours. Bring it out. Don't let it just stay in there and wait for something else to come that might be close to it so you can say amen. You know, just bring it out. I wanted to tell them people that, oh, you can do this. Just open your mouth and let the word. This is a leadership class too, you know. So it's like high-end leadership. They're all directors, and I was the outlier. You know, these people, you know, they were in the federal government. Three people in the administrative part of the, what do you call that, Border Patrol type of thing from Washington, because it was in Washington, so a couple people from Pentagon type of things with the military and leadership positions. So, I mean, these people, they weren't just, you know, regular people on the street. They had important things, you know. And one of the guys, you know, one of the black guys I was talking about, you know, I don't know, I forget what his job was, but I think he had like 3,000 people working for him. You know, it's like he pretty much had a lot of responsibilities that he was there for, and I'm sure that was why he was there. Very nice people. Everybody was great too. Everybody was great. It was really a great meeting to have so many people because it was all like-minded. It was all geared around seeing people as people and improving yourself for your own leadership development, you know. And that's, like I said, why I was there. And I did learn a lot. So if I see anybody on the street, I'll treat them like a person. It depends upon whether I like people that day or not. Is how they're going to get treated, you know. If I'm mad at people, no, I ain't going to do that. I see people as people anyway. And, you know, speaking of Worcester, I'm probably going to talk tomorrow with that, I hope, with Trumpet. He's right here with me right now. Trumpet's right there. I'm going to talk about Worcester a little bit. There's a couple of things that really are irksome to me in Worcester. And I would really like somebody to, you know, to want to have a city council vote on trafficking in Worcester and stuff, and they're blaming the whole thing on the people driving the cars and stuff. After about a year and a half ago, they empowered pedestrians to walk out any place they feel like and cross the street, and they're wondering why the traffic's a mess. It's like, you know, I want to talk tomorrow. I'm going to talk about that. But this is something I'm sure goes on in almost every city across the world. You know, people just, you know, they get empowered. If they get empowered, they're going to use that power. You know, and in Worcester, the city council had empowered people, and they didn't clarify the law. And without clarifying the law, people took it at any way they want to hear it and they want to use it. So the law was, if you're in the crosswalk, you have the right of way. That doesn't mean you create your own crosswalk. It doesn't mean that you got a line of cars coming down the street. I'm at the crosswalk, so you're supposed to stop, and then all the cars so that I can cross the street. It doesn't mean that. The law still applies. You have to be smart enough to take care of your own well-being. You walk in front of a 1,500-pound vehicle, it's going to hurt when it hits you. It really is. And then, you know, there were other people out there, especially some of these, I think they're called the social warriors or something like that.
Social justice warriors.
Social justice warriors. They see someone standing at a crosswalk, they stop. It's like, social justice warrior, learn the rules. You don't stop when you're driving on a thoroughfare. You keep going. You're the car. You keep driving. The person crosses the street when they have the light, not because you stop. So you stop, everybody behind you don't know that you're stopping. Nobody reads minds. You don't have no flashing, blinking lights on the back of your car that says, I'm going to stop because I noticed that there's somebody standing at the crosswalk, which is generally at a corner. So somebody standing at the corner, you have no idea why they're standing at the corner. So just, you know, just do what you're supposed to do within the law, and then that alleviates that problem. And pedestrians, it doesn't matter how right you are. A 15 or 2,000 pound vehicle runs you over, the only rights you getting after that are called last. You know, because you don't win when a car runs you over, you lose. So really, so I'm just wanting to, hopefully that some of the city councilors will listen to this. You know, it's a good rule to try to help the help the pedestrian and stuff, but I think they want to lower the speed limit to 25 miles an hour or something ridiculous like that. Half the cars today can't even get out of first in 25 miles an hour. They're all, you know, and they're built for speed, and they're high performance cars, and people aren't going to be driving at 25 miles an hour, no matter how much you want to think that this is going to be a good thing. It's an unenforceable type of law to try to enforce for 25 miles an hour. You have to undo the problem that you put in the first place. The pedestrian, even though they have the right of way when they're in the crosswalk crossing the street, they're already moving, they have the right of way. Not just because they showed up at the corner. And not just because, well, the crosswalk's only 30 feet away, so I'll cross right here. And all this traffic has to stop for me anyway. You got to undo that problem that you put there. This is what I think is something that needs to be looked at. Whether you do it or not, I don't know. Will people drive at 25 miles an hour? No. That ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. That'll be a distraction. Even more so than anything else. People are accustomed, you become a creature of habit. People are accustomed to driving at 30, 35 miles an hour in the city and stuff like that. The sign says 30, 35 miles an hour in the city. So they became accustomed to this. So that they function really well at 30, 35 miles an hour. At 45, they maybe don't function that well. They're not accustomed to that. And the same thing works on the lower end. At 25, it's the same thing. They're not accustomed to driving at 25 miles an hour. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to get really upset. Everybody's 25. You got bottlenecks starting to occur all over the place. I don't even know if you people know about bottlenecks. I never hear anybody talking about it. You got a whole bunch of 25 miles an hour. You got one person who slows down to 15. You're in trouble. You never get home. It's just not a doable type of situation. But maybe I'll talk about that hopefully with Will tomorrow. That and one of the city council is mission to go around and beautify the city of Worcester by weeding all the little tree planters that they got in there. I applaud your tenacity and I applaud your reserve in doing this, but come on, son, you're a city councilor. You can do that if you want to, but take care of business so that the city people benefit from something other than a clean place for a dog to urinate. You know, it's not enough. You know, it's simply not enough. All right, let me talk about my story. I've been rambling and get away from me for a little bit. Okay? Now this is what I wanted to talk about today. It's, you know, it's about being an archangel. And archangels, just we'll start right here at the number 3 and we'll talk about that for a little bit. Okay? Archangels see people first and as having emotional feelings and lives, dreams, and all things as important as their own. See, this is the mindset of an archangel. You know, an archangel is somebody who sees people first. An archangel, you also have to remember, an archangel isn't somebody who like everybody thinks the chivalry, so they hold the door. Yeah, they hold the door. You know, that they're gonna just walk through life holding doors and doing things like that. No, they're archangels. They're not the little cherub, little fat-faced little angel with the little pink wings and stuff. No, these are the big guys with swords that are on fire. They have flaming swords, flaming spears. They're God's messengers and God's warriors. That's what archangels are. If they hold the door, I'll hold the door. They blew it up. You know, they're warriors. Archangel is actually a warrior. It's not military so much, but it is. They're warrior type people. They're people that have enough inner fortitude, enough inner strength, and you know, to be able to stand in the face of adversity and not be afraid. You know, and take care of business like that. And that's what an archangel is. And like I say, they see people first. That's what archangels do. We see people first. So you see somebody who needs your assistance, whether it's holding a door or you have to tell somebody else, hey, if you really want someone to try to beat on, I'm available. You know, you can bring all your little effort over here and like that. So I mean, this is what archangels are. And there are also people like they see people first. If they see that, not to be saying that, like on every street corner in some of the cities you have somebody panhandling and asking for some kind of donation or some kind of handout. You know, if you see somebody, basically if you know somebody who needs some assistance and stuff, you find the right, archangels find the right way to say, hey, you know, hey, come on, man, let's go down here and get something to eat, you know, and do something like that. They don't try to say, oh, you need some help, I'll help you. They don't do that, you know. It's they find a way of being able to give of themselves to somebody without making somebody feel uncomfortable. Because people have lives. You know, people respect themselves too. And just because you're down and out doesn't mean that you're not an archangel. You might be more archangelish than, and I can make up that word, than someone else, you know. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So that's how archangels do. And people have dreams. And dreams are important. I'm going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes. And dreams and people have all other important things. And back to lives. People have lives. And lives are just not the positive thing. Lives are everyday type of occurrences that people don't see. Even somebody you might think is really doing well and stuff, in their real walk of life, they might not be doing as great as you perceive them to be doing. You know, and that's okay. You know, And if you see somebody like that, or if you are somebody like that, shouldn't deter you from living a life that's going to have a lot of chivalry in it. You might not be doing well and stuff, but the thing that might give you happiness and emotional peace is that, yeah, well, I didn't have a good day at work. I really hate my job and everything like that. And you're walking home and you see somebody who fell down on the street, pick them up. That's what they can lift them. You got to be strong to be an archangel. You can pick them up. Hey, kid, you want a hand? And you pick them up off the street. Just like that. And you leave out of there feeling good about it. Because you got that privilege that somebody gave you. It's a privilege. They'll know that, thank you, And cause that's the only word that in the Archangel lexicon that is really powerful is thank you. Both giving and receiving. More so receiving than giving. But archangels are also big enough within their own self that they're able to say thank you and be able to let somebody do a little something for them and stuff like that. It's a great life to live as an archangel, but it's not just holding doors, folks. It's not just holding the door for somebody or any of that type of thing like that. There is really a lot of martial type of things in it, because the archangel is not just. It's based on archangels, and it's also based on medieval knights, and it's based on the feudal system of Japan with the samurai and those type of warriors. It's a warrior class type of way of life. It's a Spartan way of life. In a sense, it's not that Spartan way you take all your pictures down, paint your wall black, put your swords and your guns up there. It's not that Spartan, but it is a little Spartan. You don't have to have pictures of great heroes all over the wall and stuff. You can put up your family if you want to. It's a good life. It's a good way of living. And at least I think so. And I think it's a very needed way of living because as an archangel, one thing it's going to do for you, one thing that an archangel lifestyle does, and I can guarantee this here, it takes away big self-victimization. You cannot be a warrior and be a victim. It doesn't, the two don't interlock. They don't even come together. Warriors aren't victims. Victims aren't warriors. It's just you can't do that. I guarantee for all those people out there who say I can't and this, that, and the other thing, that disappears when you start living in a chivalrous manner. Yeah? So, yeah, I think I might even do a couple of commercials now, because it's that time to do it. And we are back. We just hit the button. Hey, we're back. I had to pay a little bills and stuff like that. Yeah, because I wasn't here. So for the day, so I give them this day here. So we're back. Now we're going to move on. This is here how, we just talked a little bit about how people's, archangels see people first. Now we're going to talk a little bit about you, the archangel itself. And this is one of the mindsets with archangels I think that archangels excel at. Not all, but most. And this is from what's his name wrote this here, Thoreau. He wrote Walden. Everybody know that. You had to read it in school or you read it on your own. And I suggest people read it on their own if they really want to. And in one part he says, if you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundation under them. I thought that was powerful. I thought that was powerful. That was like you're reaching for the sky. Everybody talk about reaching for the sky. I want this. I want to be a store owner. I want to have this, and this is how much, because it's emotional and there's a lot of thought that they put in reaching for the sky. Especially they say I want to go to school and get my diploma and everything, and then I'm going to go into business for myself, or I'm going to go into some kind of business where I'm making a lot of money and everything, and they're shooting for the sky. You know, they're really up there. And like the rose said, this is where you put your castles. You know, this is what you want to be. Not where you're going to stop, but this is where you want to be, way up there in the sky. And it's, as he says, your work need not be lost. Just because you're talking about that, a lot of people talk about where they want to be, and how, you know, some of them even say how they want to get there, and they have this plan all mapped out on how they're going to go there. They got the A, B, C, D. They got A. Under that, they got sub 1, sub 2, sub 3. They got B, 1, 2, 3. They got all these little formats and everything. It looks pretty on paper. Look at this. This is my work plan. Look how beautiful my work plan is. And it's a beautifully worked out work plan. It's gorgeous in nature. It's got a lot of logic to it. It's got a lot of structure to it. It's got straight lines here. It's got avenues over here. It's got everything but the person in it. They've got to put themselves in there. They got all this stuff inside this work plan, you know, like this here. But it's like, it's not you. Yeah, it's not you. You don't have a timeline in there that's reasonable. But you built your castle in the sky. And that's what, like I said, that's where you should build that castle. And you got that plan for it. But now come, like you said, the work. You got A. I got to go to school. I got to go to college. I got to go here and I got to do this here, you know. If I can only do this here, this is going to be good. It's, you know, but I don't have the money right at the moment to go to school to be able to do this thing. So I'm going to wait. Wrong. You find the money. You find the money to go to college. You don't wait. You know, you don't let your castle just sit up there empty. Now you find a way to make that happen. Then you find a way to make it happen quickly. Yeah? And it might be saying, all right, I found my way, I found the money. I'll have the money by the spring semester. Right? Excuse me. So now you're going in, it's fall, right? Go down there, you're finding out the registration date, you know the classes that you need to take, you know what you need to do, you're getting all this stuff set up, you got the money, you know, and this is good. Now the next thing a lot of people do, they search as hard as they can. And I mean, they really digging down deep to find an excuse to get rid of that money. No matter what it is. Oh, the winter's coming, it's going to be cold, I gotta get a new burner. Okay. Do you need a new burner? No, but I got the money for school and my castle will wait, you know. So I'm gonna go get a new burner. And you know, I'm going on a way on the limb like that. They spend the money on something else. A lot of people do that. You can't do that. If you put that money, that plan, I'm going in the spring, I gotta have the money to go get that money, I got that money. Don't spend that money on something else. Spend that money for that school. Get that process started, you know. Because once you get that process started, now you got to keep the process going so that you can move into that castle. It's your castle, you know. You built it, or just don't lie to yourself. You don't have to build a castle in the sky. You don't have to reach for the highest point of life that's suitable and comfortable for you. You know, you're the one who says what that is. You know, there's nothing wrong with living a life that doesn't meet the standards of everybody's idea of what is successful. That's fine. But if you're going after that type of thing, go for it. Don't make up these excuses. Yeah. And now put because that's the powerful part of this statement. Now put the foundation under them. And that's what we're mostly talking about right now. You know, put the foundation under that castle. It's in the cloud. doesn't reach the ground. You know, you got to put the foundation under there. You got to have something that's going to hold that castle up. Whatever it is, school, training in some respect is going to be there. Networking, people, learning from people. Even if you can't get the money, say it's going to take me a year to get the money to get this process of school working. There's other things that you can do. There's people that you might know that do something similar to what you do, or they do exactly what it is that you want to do. Say hello to them. You know, archangels are great at saying hello. It's like this: hi, here, soft. You know, they're sincere. Hi, hi. You know, and you know, ask them people what they're going to do. Don't be shy and victimize. I tell a story of my brother. Now my brother, he's working on his master's degree. It was in counseling for battered women, no, battered something. It's his. So he's working on that. You know, he's doing all the steps. You know, he got the money. Yeah, I got the money. So he's in the program. He got in the program for getting his master's and stuff. Got him a nice little job so he can have the practical application to doing this thing. So he's working like this here. His boss is the guy whose theory they're using. You see what I'm going for? His boss was the guy whose theory they were using. My brother's victimization and shyness, because I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or however those things break down. I don't have a master's degree in counseling. He never went to his boss and say, hey Skippy, why did you write this like this? It's like, you got the man right here. This is what that network is all about. If you're going to be getting something in a field, and you can have access to the person who wrote the book, take him to lunch. You know, take him to lunch. And at least say hi to him in the morning and have already a question that been bugging you about this person's theories right there. You know, this is putting that foundation underneath your cloud. I mean, you can do it the other way. You could reread that chapter for until the cows come home and never get a complete answer. You can do that. That's perfectly acceptable. You know that. And one of these times you're gonna either get a click to it or you'll get a passing grade on that part, or you could ask the author. Personally, I asked the author. I think that's a trick that who used to use that trick? I can't remember where I got that trick from. I think he was a black, so I think he was Hank Alexander, who was the second black graduate of West Point, but I'm not sure. But anyway, the trick that he had used was you know, if he saw somebody and he wanted to know about what that person was like, he'd ask them. He'd take them to lunch. He'd ask them, hey, you want to go to lunch? You know? And if the person said no problem or anything, that's okay. Still got to have to learn his thing. But most of the time he found out that the people would say yes. You know? You come up to somebody, you know, and you say, hey, I don't want to bother you or anything like that. Nowadays you can send them an email and introduce yourself with the email, telling them who you are and what your aspiration is in life, and you know how it would be. You would find it really helpful if you could buy a couple of minutes of their time. You can ask them if they want to go to lunch, or you could say, how much is your time worth for an hour or so like this? They might say $50. All right, so you get $50 and you take them to lunch and pay them $50 for getting inside their brains to find out the things that are going to help you keep your castles afloat in the sky. Because remember, that's the bottom line. Not whether the person, he's already got his foundation under his castle. for that specific castle he does. You know, this is building, putting a foundation under your castle. Sometimes you got to invest a couple of extra ducats, and you know, sometimes you don't. But if you do, don't get shy about it and make excuses that, oh man, I don't want to pay that guy like this. It's like you ain't paying the guy. You're paying for the knowledge that you want. You write the questions, you know. And if you don't like the answer come out, rephrase the question while you got them there. You paid for it, you know. Don't go in there shy. Don't go in there arrogant. You know, too arrogant that you end up just talking about yourself, and then you wasted your time. You didn't get any questions asked because the person really don't care who you are. You might, I don't know, but that's, you know, these are putting a foundation underneath your castle. And then like the person whose castle has already got foundations under it. This is another thing what archangels do. Archangels live several lives. They just don't live one life. You know, that the guy who's the psychologist who wrote the book, or whatever you call that, who wrote the book that my brother has to read to study and learn his theories and his way of being for that specific type of counseling with battered people. That's only one aspect of his life, or should be only one aspect of his life. Now, he got more lives. You got several lives that you live all at the same time. And you should put as much energy into each one of your lives. You know, all your lives. And put them all up there in the sky. All of them have different castles. You're a big land baron. Got all the sky. Put them just all over the place. But it's some of them are going to be more joyous. You're going to have a lot more joy in from some of those castles because they're emotionally driven. So the energy that you're putting for foundation is emotional and happy. And like, you know, one of the lives that you might live is wanting to be a fry cook. I doubt it, but you know, you learn all these things, but you build the foundations underneath your castles. And there's many lives that you have. And then comes the really hard part. This is the really hard part to do. You built your castle, right? You got your plan, you got your castle, you built it. It's right there, right below, just at the stratosphere level. You're one more inch and you're orbiting, you know. You got your foundation, you know, your castle's secure. It's not falling out the sky. It's up there good. You've learned a lot. You've learned enough to know that you got to keep on learning. You know, that's a measure that you can use when you're trying to learn something. You're never the expert. You know, how can you be the expert? It's impossible to be the expert because then you get your feelings hurt when somebody else comes around. Just like a prize fighter. You know, a lot of boxers, they're the champ. And then the next thing you know, eventually someone punches you in the face and you didn't like it and you lost your belt. All of a sudden you're in a big state of depression. It's the same thing with any kind of castle, you know. It's the same thing. You're never the expert. So you got your foundation, but you realize that your foundation has to be maintained. You got to do maintenance on your foundation all the time. And you're living many lives at the same time. Most of them are going to be joyous lives and stuff, you would hope. But the thing that gets in the way today is the victimization. Self-victimization. You don't build castles in the sky. You dream of castles in the sky. You don't build castles in the sky. You build lies to yourself. You build little things that's going to undermine your castle. You have that seizures put upon your castle. They ain't even got foundation. You're already trying to knock it down. You know, sometimes you're trying to, well, yeah, I'm going to improve it like this. You haven't even put the cornerstone in. You just have nothing there because you victimized yourself so much. You put all your energies into somebody else and like that. That is not Archangel at all. Not even if you can hold 100 doors a day for people to walk through. No. Not even if you give those 2 cents at the counter at the grocery store because the person in front of you trying to check out was short 2 cents on their bill, and you went in your pocket and you pulled out those 2 pennies and dropped them down. No. You're still the victim, and the victim is the only person who suffers from being the victim is you. Because you can't put your foundation underneath your castle. It won't work. You're too busy trying to find ways to knock that foundation down. You might even get one big pole started and stuff, and then the next thing you know, oh, I can't do this. You find some way not to do it. Your castle crumbles. And you're not you become so fixed on your victimization, you're not living many lives. You're only living one life, and that's the life of a victim. Even though that life of a victim may have all the dreams and aspirations of being the most successful or the baddest man alive. I'm the baddest man alive. Be singing your song, but you're not feeling it. You don't get this belt, folks. See right there? I can't lift it. It's too heavy. It's the WWF belt. You don't get a belt because you're the victim. You're not going to put things there. You're going to find excuses. Yeah? But archangels, we don't find excuses. We don't find walls. There's always walls right there. There's mountains to climb and stuff like that. And we don't do that either when we're doing the foundation. We don't climb mountains. No, we're in the clouds. We don't climb a mountain. We knock the mountain down. I didn't want this mountain obstructing my view. I'm knock this mountain down. A wall. We don't let walls bother. We don't hit the wall. We hit the wall crumbles. That's what archangels do. They do all that stuff, and at the same time, their power comes from. This is what brings the power to an archangel, because he sees people as people. That's how they are. They're people with emotional lives and with dreams, with all kinds of things, just like you, just like me. They see people exactly the same way they see themselves. And if you see yourself as a victim, imagine how many people you see as better than you, because you can't see them as yourself. You're the victim. So everybody that you meet's better than you. I mean, you walking around like that person, that little boy. Remember that story years ago? I see ghosts everywhere.
Yeah, I see dead people.
I see dead people everywhere. That's how you walking around. How you gonna build a castle when all you see is dead people? They put dead people in the ground. You ain't leaving the earth. You're staying on the ground. So, this is just a little idea of the things in the mindset that are helpful in becoming an archangel. All the rest, the chivalrous type of things and stuff, those are things that you just do. They're just things that you just do naturally. Things that you become somebody who is trusted. And somebody that is looked for if somebody needs help or something like that. People do that. They say, oh man, I know I can get some help over here. You don't become somebody that's used. Somebody that's trusted enough that they know that you got their back only simply because you love them. You see them just like people, so you love them and you're not a victim. You say, oh yeah, when you say to somebody, I got your back, it doesn't mean that you're carrying the Uzi while they're going around there and going to have some shootout with somebody or something. That ain't I got your back. When somebody says, I got your back, it's, I got your back. You need an ear, I'm here for you. You need a hand, I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. If you need help moving, I'm here for you. Your car broke down, I got you. I'll pick you up in the morning, take you here. Pick you up after work, bring you home. Don't worry about it. That's That's how the archangels do. That's the kind of chivalry that's lacking in this world. And you know, we do it to our closest friends, but the object is to have everybody your closest friend. You know? Some you love more. Yeah, that's just human nature. Some people you don't even like, but you can still reach out and give them a hand, you know, because that's how they see you. It ain't about how you see them, because you see them exactly like you see yourself. Except if you see yourself as a victim, then everybody else is superior to you, because you can't be a victim among victims. You know, physically you can't be a victim among victims, but to be the victim, everybody else has to be superior. So, you know, archangels don't even see victims, not even a little bit. Because it, like I said in the beginning, it's not the little short, fat little cherub that you see on the Valentine's Day card. It's the warrior that stands there in a cloak and got a sword that bursts into flames, wears a mace type of garment on, stands, got muscles. They may not ripple, but they got muscles. You know, they stand firm, fit, and they look as though, hey, this is somebody that, you know, he knows what's going on. He takes time to do the things that's necessary for life. And that's all that an archangel really comes down to. But the hardest work is becoming an archangel. There's other things too, is building your castles in the sky. Because once you build your castle in the sky, you get your foundation under it, you're living your several other lives with their castles and their foundation on it. Guess what you become too, automatically? You become happy. You can't help but become happy. You just got a smile on your face all the time. It's like, yeah. And these castles I'm talking about, they have nothing to do with money. They have nothing to do with status. They have nothing to do with anybody else looking at you. The only thing that has something to do with somebody else's, the way they perceive you, is if you're a victim. All this other stuff is purely for you. It's whatever you want to be. You become the best that you can be at it. And that's where you put your castle. You become the best you that you can be. Just like in the commercial for the YMCA, you know, that's what you become. And to do that, you build the best foundation that you can build. And there's several other ways to build foundations. And I think we're going to go over this for a few more things, especially trying to get people to realize that realize that the only thing that really gets in the way of anybody doing the chivalrous thing is their own self. Then the self-victimization is something that you don't have any place to live. That's all you got to think about. If you want to live in a castle in the sky, you can't be a victim. You know, it just ain't going to work. You know, it doesn't work. Well, folks, it's 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and I know that I had a good time. I'm glad to be back talking to you and stuff like that. I hope somebody was listening. I hope we get a whole lot of archangels out there. And I'll tell by Halloween, when I see all the little kids dressed up with flaming swords, it's going to be bright. Maybe they won't have flaming swords at the time, but they'll still be bright. All right, well, this is Trooper Joe. And I'm here at ArchAngel, a Return to Chivalry on Blog Talk Radio, Facebook Live, and Periscope. Yeah, we do some Periscope too. Don't even know what it is, but I know it's good. It's great for all you people out there. And we can do this, and I want to have everybody just to go have that fun. And remember, the weekend's coming up, and weekends are great for giving everybody a hug. You know, give everybody a hug this weekend, especially them people with the manicured grass. They need it. All right, it's Trooper Joe, and I'm gone.
What's up?
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And that was my show for Mike and Keisha. And all the other people in the world.